All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we go through everything that happened here on a Friday in Ninerland. I'm here in Seattle, boots on the ground, checked into the hotel. Lots of Niner fans on the flight, fired up, and let's go. Let's go. It's obviously a big weekend for the 49ers. A win puts them in the NFC Championship game. A loss ends their season. Of course, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're going to open soon in Petaluma. Check them out. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket chili. Tell them Krug sent you. All right, let's get into our video. These are just Niner notes on this Friday. The Raiders are scheduled to interview Clay Kubiak on Sunday for their head coaching job. Now, there hasn't been a lot of talk about Clay Kubiak possibly leaving, but I think it's a very high likelihood that he is going to wind up leaving the Niners. Why? Because the Shanahan system is the preferred system. A lot of people really like Clint Kubiak. All it's going to take is for 2 or 3 teams to want Clint Kubiak. He can only go to one place. And then the easy, obvious pivot is, well, get his twin brother, Clay Kubiak, who's, coaching the same system. And he's actually working directly with Kyle Shanahan. So he would know Shanahan's system as well as anybody, probably. So I think it's very likely that Saleh gets a job elsewhere and Clay Kubiak gets a job elsewhere. Now, it's not a huge deal because the Niners do have Gus Bradley on defense and they have Kyle Shanahan. So Shanahan can be his own offensive coordinator if he needs to be, and he also seemingly has an endless number of guys that want to work with him. So I don't necessarily think it's a disaster if they lose Saleh and Kubiak, but guys, if you're a Niner fan, prepare yourself for the fact that whether the Niners win the Super Bowl or not, there's a high likelihood that they're going to lose both coordinators. Josh Williams also could be departing. Rumor out of Atlanta is that Matt Ryan, who's the new head of football operations for the Atlanta Falcons, wants to hire the 49ers personnel assistant, former St. Ignatius Wildcat, Josh Williams. Go Cats, get 'em Cats, go get 'em Cats. He's a smart guy. He's a smart guy, and he's had a lot of experience. He's been working in the Niner front office for a number of years now. So good for the Falcons. Supposedly he's going to be their GM of choice, and that they want Clint Kubiak. So if they get Clint Kubiak, maybe they won't come knocking for Clay. But if they don't get Clint Kubiak, I could easily see Josh Williams saying, hey, well, let's go after Clay. So Niners are going to lose Josh Williams, it sounds like, to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this is actually, I don't want to say a good situation for the Niners, but he's a minority candidate. And if he does go to Atlanta, the 49ers will get third-round draft pick compensation in both the 26 draft and the 27 draft, and their picks in the third round. So, Josh Williams is valuable, but 2 picks in the third round are probably, equally valuable. So it's not a disaster if he winds up going to Atlanta. Mike McDonald spoke today, and he said that Sam Darnold will wind up testing his oblique tomorrow. Supposedly didn't do any throwing today, which makes me think that maybe the oblique situation is a little bit more serious than we think if he's not throwing at all. But McDonald says he's optimistic and he's confident that Darnold's going to play. But Darnold is going to test that on the field at Lumen Field on Saturday before the game. And if he can't go, it's Drew Lock time. And that's a huge advantage for the 49ers because Lock has barely played this year. He's an NFL quarterback. He's got an NFL arm. He's got NFL size and stature. But he's not Sam Darnold, and he hasn't played all year. He's basically just played in mop-up relief. I think he's only got 5 or 6 pass attempts for the entire season. So, bring on Drew Lock if that's the situation. That would be great for the 49ers. Robert Saleh interviewed today with Miami and Arizona, and he's got interviews set up, I believe, on Sunday with Baltimore and Tennessee. Now, if I'm Robert Saleh, I don't know that I want to go to Arizona. It's a bad organization. I don't know if I want to go to Tennessee because of Cam Ward, and that's not a great organization. But Miami, man, that would be attractive as long as you could move on from Tua. You need a quarterback. unless you like the guys they have there behind Tua. I don't think they have a great quarterback in house, but you're going to need a new quarterback. But Miami's a great market. I think Robert Saleh would be a very popular hire in Miami. The job that I would want if I was Robert Saleh is Baltimore. You have Lamar Jackson, you have Eric DeCosta. You don't have to worry about personnel. All you have to do is be able to verbalize what it is that you're looking for in certain positions on your football team, and Eric DeCosta will go out there and find those pieces for you. He's one of the best GMs in the league. So if I was Robert Saleh, that's where I want to go. I want to go work for Steve Bisciotti and the Baltimore Ravens. There's also a lot more stability there. There's a lot more stability with Bisciotti and Baltimore and Eric DeCosta than you have in Tennessee or Miami or Arizona or the Raiders, another team that's rumored to be interested in Robert Saleh. For Saturday's game, Jair Brown is officially out. Marquise Siegel will start for Jair Brown. I actually think Marquise Siegel's got a lot of ability as a cover man in pass coverage, but the numbers say he's also better than Jair Brown against the run. So Siegel, played really well last week. He had 7 tackles. I think 6 of them were solo. He's playing at a really high level. He got a cup of coffee. He got a look-see early in the year, and that gave him some experience. And I actually think he might be a better cover guy than Jair Brown. As far as predictions on this game, the entire ESPN crew last week picked Philadelphia to beat the Niners in Philly. Well, this week, they're all picking Seattle to win in Seattle. So I guess that's fitting, right? None of them picked the Niners last week. None of them are picking the Niners this week. Let's hear from Demarcus Robinson. This is courtesy of Coach Yak's Twitter. He talked a little bit on how Quinyon Mitchell couldn't cover him and that the Eagles were yelling stuff at him. Here's a little Demarcus Robinson looking back last week at the win over the Philadelphia Eagles.
Hey, cause you one step closer.
For real, that's what I'm talking about.
One step closer.
Hey, you were talking hella shit out there, man. What? Somebody pissed you off or something?
Nah, shit. Hey, Coach over there talking to me, so I'm like, shoot, you see what's going on, Coach? These boy can't hold me for real. Like, I don't even know what you yap. Ain't no need to yap. You see, it's on the field, Coach.
Right. Yeah. Hey, you talking? You see, I'm giving your boy that work.
That work.
Your boy 2-7. Oh, he got that work.
They had to get him up off of me.
Both of them was on him, right?
Yeah, they had to get him up off of me. The first drive.
Nah, you can't do that with it wrong.
Nah, you can't do that with me, man. You better call somebody else. Call back up. For real.
but did you know you was gonna have this type of input going into the game?
So, like the plan was to kind of get me the ball. Like, I was way in the playbook this week more than any other week. So, because Ricky wasn't up, so I'm like, okay, these boys gonna be able to feed me a little bit. So, you go through it in practice, you go all through the routine plays and stuff like that. But I ain't know it was just gonna be as fast as it was.
Right.
Yeah, that was second play of the game, 60-yarder, fourth play of the game, touchdown.
All right, a little Demarcus Robinson right there. One of my favorite moments of the week this week was when I asked Kyle Shanahan, I said, if you hadn't seen Juwan Jennings as a player, how would you describe him to somebody who's never seen him? And Kyle's like, he's the ultimate competitor. And, I have the ultimate, respect for JJ. But here he is. Here's what Shanahan had to say when I asked him that question in Santa Clara. Kyle, some players are better than their stats, and Jennings, I think, is probably one of those guys. If somebody hadn't seen Jennings and you were describing him to them, what would you say about him?
A true competitor. Like JJ is one of the best competitors I've ever been around, and he's one of the best receivers I've ever been around. Just in terms of how he plays down in and down out. JJ, I thought was as important as any receiver on our 2023 team. I believed if we won that game, he would have been the MVP. And I think every time we've gone to him, no matter what the situation's been, he's always come through at a high level. JJ had guys ahead of him with Debo and Ayuk for a number of years, but I thought he was he's really who we went to on third down, and the guy who was the most consistent for us in those ways. And he's gotten his opportunity with people not here as a number one receiver, and like any guy who's competitive like JJ, he's risen to that challenge and played like a number one receiver. So ultimate respect for JJ.
All right, a couple other notes. Fred Warner is in Seattle with the team, but he is out for the game. He will not play. He may play next week in LA or in Chicago if the Niners are lucky enough to advance. But he's here for moral support, but he will not be playing in this game over the weekend. All right, keys to victory. Let's talk about it. You got to stop Seattle's run game. In Week 18, they ran up and down the field. If it happens again, they're going to win. You have to double JSN. You got to tilt the field in his direction. It's a one wide receiver team. You can't allow him to just go one-on-one. You have to be cognizant of where he's lining up, what side, try to get as many bodies and arms and legs as you possibly can between Sam Darnold and JSN. You know the ball's coming his way. There's no reason to not expect that. The Niners have to win on third down. You know, Brock Purdy has been really, really good. In fact, Brock Purdy, the Niners, since Brock Purdy has come back, are the best third down conversion team in the league. How about that? They convert over 55% of the time on third down. They have to win on third down, not just offensively, but defensively as well. And Robert Saleh said that that was his big key as well, to win on third down defensively. They got to win the turnover battle. Okay, you won last week -2 in turnovers. It was an aberration. You're not going to do that again. You have to win the turnover battle to win the game. I would say you got to play with the lead. You got to take the crowd out of it. These people are nervous. The Niners have owned them. Brock Purdy's never lost in Seattle. You have to get a lead and make them question it. You got to get a lead and make Sam Darnold throw under pressure. You got to work from ahead in this game to give yourself some margin, to have a mistake or have a big play go against you. Let's talk. Those are the keys, really. And then I think you got to test Seattle down the field, whether it's Ricky Pearsall, if they surprise attack, activate Jacob Cowing. You have to somehow test Seattle down the field. You got to be willing to play fast and physical. They're gonna play fast. They're gonna play with two deep safeties, and if you're gonna beat them in the passing game with two deep safeties, you got to hit a seam and go. And speed is going to be very important. So Pearsall. If Pearsall can be, a factor in this game, I think that's going to go a great distance to helping the 49ers win here in Seattle. Also, let's talk about Purdy against Sam Darnold. Why do I think the Niners are going to win? Brock Purdy. He's 4-0 here in Seattle. Kyle Shanahan is 4-0 in the division round. Sam Darnold is a turnover machine. He had 20 turnovers this year. Everything played into his hands in Week 18, and they found a way to get a 10-point win. But it wasn't. Sam Darnold in 2 games against the Niners this year has thrown 0 touchdown passes. Make him play from behind. Make this a referendum on who's the better quarterback, and the Niners will be moving on to the NFC Championship game. Thanks to Sleeper, this 49er football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and of course Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry, and Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And also thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sending us to Philadelphia. And now we're in Seattle. He's a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades for sending us to Philly. And the Niners, we are 1 sleep away from Niners Seahawks. And I love the Niners to win this game. I'm going 24-14. I think Purdy outplays Darnold. I think Darnold has a turnover. I think the 49ers get a lead, and they roll to a 10-point victory here in Seattle, and then set up either a trip to Chicago or a trip to LA for the NFC Championship game. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle. Thanks to Sleeper. Thanks to Claudaddy Arcades. And thanks to you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.